Welcome to this video on Nightmare Mode Darkness Wars. We're going to be looking at this from the perspective of the tank, and hopefully everything will be fairly obvious. This is the build which I'm using. I'm going for hammer blades, so I'm making sure that I've got a couple of impairs on, or actually just the one impair. I'm using Master's House to get some extra DPS. This first boss is he's only really got one ability that you need to worry about impairing, so nice and easy. Just waiting for everyone to catch up and be ready. Now this particular boss, when you run in, he is going to appear in a specific spot. So the idea is that you can run over to where he's going to spawn and start spamming your builder, and you'll pick him up regardless of when he actually decides to make an appearance. So yep, this is where the boss spawns. So what I'm going to do is start spamming my builder, and then there's an ad which spawns at the back, which I'm just going to pull using Stone's Throw like that. Most people will drag any extra ads to you, so it's all good. Pretty much a straight tank and spank. He has blood boils, which you can either move out of or impair. If you have slow DPS, then the ads will get turned into bombs, and they get a little bit more problematic at that point. Most of the time, though, DPS is high enough that you don't need to worry about it. So I'm putting Art of War back on here now because I know that I want a second impair. These guys have an ability called Fevered Blow, which I've moved away from there because Fevered Blow hits really, really hard, and early tanks will die to these two with depressing frequency. So the Zibalban Bloodhound has Concuss, which is the main one to really worry about, as it blinds you and knocks you back. Again, there's guys in here with Fever Blow, so whenever you pull a group, try and move away from them. They don't move whilst they're casting it, so all you have to do is get a little bit of distance or move behind them and you should be safe. This is a very good reason to have Art of War because of the forced glances. Blood boils, just like the last boss, impair it or move out of it. It's pretty easy to avoid. Concuss, there you go. It does worrying things to your screen so you can't see, and he has an annoying habit of following it up with his Filth Breath. It will knock you back if you stand in the wrong place. If you stand up against the throne, then you don't get knocked back by it. You can impair it or just not really worry about it. Next up we have the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer is all about the positional fighting. And there's not too much to impair. The Dark House Sorcerer has blood in, blood out, and ceremonial lines, and ceremonial cross as well, which is lovely patterns that he makes on the floor that will knock you back. The important thing here is to get really solid hate nice and fast, because that way when he moves into this phase, where he will summon two little ads, which you the tank need to pick up. Stay out of the circles because they will knock you over and do some damage, and just kill off the ads. If you're in a low DPS group, you may want the DPS to help you out on the ads. Better geared tanks are expected to take care of them themselves. The line moves around in a steady pattern. If you get touched by it, you'll be knocked back into the AoE vortex surrounding him, which does damage. Nice and quick. Having crack and binding is a useful aid to DPS at this point. And then we move fluidly through to our next boss, where those of you who remember Savage Coast too well will go, oh god, not another bloody Akab. This next boss we're going to have to deal with a wave or two of ads coming in. The Unbound Akab has dash and burrow as his two main things. He also has ads, so when the ads die they will explode in little puddles of blood. So you have to be thoughtful about where you want to actually be killing them. The normal thing to do is to run in and pick them up like this, just spam some builders. Don't use your consumers. Consumers will hit too hard and you risk killing them early. As you can see, they're already getting fairly low on health. Drag them over here, then the blood puddles will be out of the way and you don't need to worry about it. That is also where the boss comes in from. He comes in burrowed, so you can see the little ground effect that shows him burrowing in. And then when he pops up, if you're standing too close, he will knock you back. So stand back, wait for him to pop up, and then come in. Now, I managed to get knocked over there like an idiot. You can use Master's House or Art of War. Sort of Art of War if you're wanting to impair him. Stand with your back against the wall and he can't dash through you. It negates the effect of his dash attack and just means that you can burn him and get nice high DPS. So, nice simple boss once you're familiar with where to stand and as long as you know how to survive that first appearance. Art of War is really useful on this boss because there's going to be lots and lots and lots of ads to deal with. You can also use your flamethrower if you're particularly worried about having trigger happy DPS. As you can see here. This is one of the times when having I think it's an imprint on your flamethrower so that you hit more people, more targets, is useful. The important ability to watch out for is Sanguine Omen. That's a ground targeted AoE like that. If your DPS are standing inside it and it goes off, it'll kill them. He teleports over to different sides of the arena and up top as well. So I've I popped an impair and he's teleported away. It's really irritating when he does that. When he goes up top, he'll then start throwing bombs down onto the ground. He will always bomb the entrance and exit and then the middle. The bombs will always land in the same place, so if you get practiced at spotting where is a safe place to stand, those safe places will always be there. I like to stand just in the middle and then move back, so I minimise my movement. I'm keeping an eye on the exit for when more ads turn up, and as soon as they're up I'm able to get attacking them because my DPS are trigger happy and will pull aggro if I'm not careful. Now as you can see here, he's channeling a cast onto all of the ads and has turned them into bombs. Bombs hurt even when you're a tank. They also knock you back, and on this phase it can be a risk getting knocked back into some of the bombs which he's actually dropping. So we've managed to burn through them, and there we go, he's dead. That was nice and quick. So for the next fight I'm going to be keeping Beatdown and Art of War, and I'm actually going to switch to Whippersnapper as my auxiliary ability so that I have 3 impairs available. You don't have to use Art of War. I find it is useful as it's a good way of potentially getting around one of the more irritating mechanics. So popping my whip on, and I've got an imprint on that particular whip. It's not very important. 3 abilities to worry about: Exhale the Void, Concuss, and Open the Rift. Exhale the Void is a big filth spew which leaves a persistent ground AoE, which if you stand in it will kill you. Open the Void is a cast where he drags you all to him and you then casts a big explosion, so as soon as he casts it and you get dragged in, you have to run straight out. Concuss is a aggro drop where he will move whoever is at the top of the hate table down. I'm not sure where they go on the hate table. Common ways to get around it are to use provoke and confuse, so that he will change his target which he's casting it on. If you've got high DPS and you can get him under 80% by the time that he casts it, then you don't need to worry about it. As soon as he comes out of the concuss, then he'll be into the next phase anyway. So you start off by killing the ads. It's good clean fun. Try and drag them as far back into the corner as you can, because later on in the fight it's going to be useful to you to have them as far away from the boss as possible. Go out and pick them up, because your DPS will always try and shoot them before they reach you, because what's the fun in a dungeon unless the tank has to do loads of work with DPS being sods. Make sure to use consumers as well. Sort of, this section takes often far longer than you would think. And then as soon as it's down and the boss appears, Batpig himself. Now, I like to use Stone's Throw. That's Exhale the Void, which I've impaired. You need to watch out. He may well be immune to crowd control effect, which means no impairing. If he is immune to CC, then you need to move out of Exhale the Void rather than trying to impair it. So once again, I've impaired that, and we're doing lovely damage. He's already under 80%, so I don't have to worry about Concuss. If he casts Concuss, then the reason why I've not used Art of War to start off with as my impair is that if you cast Art of War right at the end of his Concuss cast, then he will attack you for 5 seconds, which gives you enough time to get back on top of the hate table. Otherwise, stand over by the dead bodies, and you can spam your builder. You can just wait and sort of take a quick nap or something. If you've got good DPS, then you shouldn't have to worry too much. As soon as the Varangian turns up and gives you his triple damage buff, they go down so ridiculously quickly, it's actually fairly comedy. So he's just turned up here, and if you have 2 DPS who are using flamethrowers, then pretty much 2 flamethrowers with the Varangian's buff will kill the ads as they stand up, which makes life a lot easier. At this point, I suggest you don't use your consumers, so that you have your consumers available for when the boss turns up again. See, they just absolutely melt. We're going to get one more wave of ads, and then we're going to be back on the boss. So after the Varangian turns up, you get 2 resurrection waves, and then the boss. I'm impressed at my self-restraint. I'm normally just spamming my builder out of boredom by now. So we've killed off the ads, and we're back onto the boss. Now you want to stand on the opposite side to your DPS, so that if he does an Exhale the Void whilst immune to CC, like that, then you don't get them all breathed on. The DPS are taking care of the ads, hopefully. Unfortunately, they didn't do it quite fast enough there, so one of the ads ran up and then exploded. So here he's using Concuss, so I'm going to pop Art of War, and he stays on me. He's casting Sacrificial Ceremony, which is resurrecting the ads. That's why we kill them as far away from him as possible, so that it takes a longer time for them to walk over. And he's casting Open the Rift, so I'm taking a little bit of a chance. As soon as he can actually interrupt his own casts there, which is always amusing. So we've nearly got him, and there he's done. So this is fairly obviously a high DPS group. Lower DPS groups will need a little bit more practice, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask me either in-game or via the forums. Thanks for watching.